Hey everybody, welcome back to World History. We're doing section 2 today. Our bell ringer is what were the three estates, which we talked about last time. And our learning objectives today are to identify the various factions that had begun to form in France and to analyze the declarations of rights of the man and the citizen, as well as the Constitution of 1791. So, at this point, political crisis, and then France is beset by the worst famine ever equals bad times. This political crisis will lead to revolts and also famine. When people are hungry, they do crazy things. This also leads to something known as the Great Fear. There was a lot of rumors among the peasants that the wealthy were hoarding food. So then there were going to be attacks on these villages and nobles all over the place. As this is going on, factions are going to begin to form. Um, As a result of this, these factions are groups with differing views that competed for power. In terms of major factions, there are a few that we're going to talk about. We have the moderates. These people liked the revolution but were against the violence. This included people like the Marquis de Lafayette, who served as a role model for this group. You also have the Jacobins, they're the radicals within the Legislative Assembly. And then you have the sans culottes, or the working class citizens. So, these are our three main groups we're going to be talking about for now. As a part of this, the National Assembly is going to take action. The nobles are going to vote to end their own privileges, which they had already lost. The goal was equality of all male citizens before the law, so their first step would be a constitution. So they're going to write the Declaration of the Rights of Man and the Citizen. Um, it's inspired by the Declaration of Independence. It includes the ideas of all men are born and remain free and equal in rights, that they have natural rights like life, property, security, and resistance to oppression, that the government exists to protect those natural rights. So a lot of these Enlightenment ideas that we talked about last chapter. Also things like all male citizens being equal before the law, freedom of religion, and being taxed according to ability. Well, again, this does not include women. So Olympe de Gouges is going to speak out in favor of women's rights. She's actually going to rewrite the document, and every place it says man, she's also going to add and woman. Louis XVI is going to fully resist these ideas, and we'll talk more about Louis in a minute. First, let's introduce his wife, Marie Antoinette. She spent millions. She lived a very extravagant life. She was against the reforms, and she'll be the last queen of France. Allegedly, she also had a gambling problem, and people think she said, let them eat cake. She didn't. Historians kind of debate whether or not she actually said, let them eat pain, which is the French word for bread, but we don't know for certain. So the National Assembly, in order to keep things going, are going to sell church lands to pay off debt. They're going to end the church's authority in France. And this causes divide between the peasants and the revolutionaries. Because at this point, they're like, hey, now, we did not agree to you going after the church. The church is the only stable thing we have in our lives. Why are you going after that? A couple years later, by 1791, we'll have their first constitution. It established a limited monarchy, so Louis was still on the throne. It established a legislative assembly that could make laws, collect taxes, wage war and peace, and be elected by tax-paying males over the age of 25. It also fully ends church interferences and basically just sets it up to where, well, it's a new government. But that's not going to last for very long. European rulers over time are just watching France like a hawk, and they do not like what they're seeing. They're against these emigres, or those who fled France and revolutionary forces, and they're going to fan the flames of opposition all around Europe. They want to stop the spread of the plague, aka revolution. Radical revolutionaries are going to further demand that there be a republic or a government ruled by elected representatives instead of a monarch. They want Louis gone. So, to kind of give the people something they wanted, the Legislative Assembly declares war on Austria, Prussia, and Britain, the three other major powers of Europe at this point. The great powers expected an easy victory, but this conflict is going to last for the next 20 years. All right, that is it for notes for today. No new assignment today, so work on your review guides, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye, guys.